Well, this morning's the morning. We're moving to... And I will clip that.
It's a Sunday and I feel alright for the first time. It's a Sunday and I feel alright for the first time.
All right, everyone. Welcome into another Joint Movement DPT's video. Today is the morning. It is Saturday. We are leaving and moving to... Yeah, you guys thought we were going to tell you. But this weekend we are making the trip. And so we have today, we're hoping to leave early this morning once we get Big Betty packed up and ready to go. And then we travel today, Sunday, and probably a little bit of Monday, and then I start on Tuesday at my next contract. Megan currently does not have a job in this new state, but we are going to be looking for her a job. There's a greater chance that there will be something, or at least some PRN to buy us some time, but we're really excited for this next venture. We're always nervous on travel days just because when you have a super old RV, it's a little nerve-wracking. And then we also travel with our 2 commuter cars, which that'll be a new experience. We'll get to use our tow dolly that we bought for the first time, and it's like an ancient, like 100-year-old tow dolly. And we're actually going to be hooking it up.
Here.
We're actually going to, yeah, we buy old stuff. And we're actually going to be hooking up the tow dolly and then my little Toyota car to the Subaru, the Adventure Sub. And Megan's going to drive that.
I've never pulled anything before, so I practiced earlier this week. I'm getting my turns down.
Yeah, she did good. We can always switch it over to the RV and pull it, but just to put a little less stress on Big Betty, we thought we'd let the Subaru pull it because it is a V6 and has the tow capacity too.
So we have a couple things left to do this morning. We are, Ryan already got the tow dolly all kind of put together, chains changed, that's hard to say, chains changed, things tightened, but we have to get propane this morning for the RV. We have a big, like 40-pound, probably bigger than that, but 40-pound tank on board that's been out of propane for a long time because it's so inconvenient to pack this thing up and move it to go get it filled. So we have to have propane for our fridge to work during the trip. So that's number one. The propane place here doesn't open until 9. Then I have a package at the mail room that I have to get. That's not open until 9. And then we got a trash bag we got to take out. That's not open until 9.
Yeah, so the town's slowly waking up. While everything is opening up, we're going to finish getting the RV ready. Megan has it mostly ready. All of our inside is kind of packed away, most of it in drive mode, and then we need to drop it down, take off our levelers, and then dump the tanks, fill up our fresh water tanks so we have a little bit of water on the trip, and then we'll be ready to head off.
Are you nervous?
I am nervous. Always am, but it'll be good. Just gotta get on the road.
We have people praying for us.
Yes. We are all loaded up. All the tires are aired up. And we are now leaving Plains, Montana, which was our home for 6 months. We're going to miss it. We're going to miss everyone here. Y'all were so great and nice to us. And we truly got to make friends in a different part of the United States, which is so cool. Such a unique opportunity as travel physical therapists. And we'll definitely be coming back to visit and hang out with friends, go up to Glacier again. We just had such a great time here in Montana. So the RV's ready to go, and then Megan is all hooked up with our other little car. As you can see, the Adventure Subaru has the tow dolly hooked up to it, and then the Corolla hooked onto that. We're gonna hit the road. It's about 18 hours to our next location, and it'll be a good time. We're gonna miss that train sound.
Oh, don't worry, there'll be another one. There will.
So let's get on the road.
Tell them what happened and what we're doing real quick.
Well, I think we're still in Montana. If anything, we're what, in Utah? Or Idaho? I think we're in Idaho, coming across these big open plains, and just had a really big gust of wind, kind of pushed the RV, and then the awning flipped out. And so I guess somehow it unclipped our awning. So now we're on the side of the road trying to put it back. It looks like I pulled over fast enough that I don't think it's bent, but we'll see if it'll go back up. But it was all like flying out.
Morning.
Good morning. How are you feeling today?
Feeling good. Travel days are like my least favorite days, but traveling in the RV is super convenient because we had salmon and quinoa last night that we made, and we slept in our own bed, and we had our own clothes that we didn't have to pack. So that's really nice. But my sleep was a little disturbed. I was a little aware because, you know, we're on the road in new places, but I'm feeling refreshed today. We made it 400 miles yesterday. We have 700 left to go. So I'm hoping we can really push through today and get a lot of that done so that on a Monday, we're mainly just setting up at our new place.
What are we up to now?
We're gonna go get some coffee and breakfast.
That's probably one of our favorite reasons. Sorry. That's probably one of our favorite reasons of staying at a truck stop. Other than the fact that it's a simple place to just park if you just need to sleep, if you don't need hookups, and we have some fresh water in our freshwater tank, and it's free.
Yep.
It's really great for going quick on road trips.
Right on the highway, so.
Yeah, you can get right back on, as you probably can hear from the microphone. We only had one mishap yesterday. We don't know if the wind or if the awning catching the wind pushed me into the other lane. Thankfully, there was no one there. But just a minor thing. Hopefully, we have another good day today.
Yeah.
So let's get some coffee.
Coffee. And then the key is to push it down.
Why do you push it down?
Because it's always too hot. So if you flip it back, it just floods your mouth with hot, scalding coffee. But this is like a valve.
Pro tip.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
You too. So long.
Good morning, everyone. We ended up in St. George, Utah. So down at the very bottom southwest corner of Utah.
Yep.
Originally we stopped at the truck stop in Idaho Falls, and then made the long trip here. It wasn't too bad. Going past Salt Lake City there was a ton of road construction, a ton of lanes, a ton of people, so that was a little stressful.
There's
but
like 5 to 6 lanes for an hour.
yeah, but we made it. and so that's good. This was a great place to stop because this seems to be kind of a haven where some snowbirds go, and so some snowbirds are coming in. We got into a great RV park. It was like upper 90s, about 100 degrees when we got here, so we were like, there's no way we're going to sleep without AC. So we stopped in at this RV park, and they got us in here for the night. And now we are about to go pay for our stay here and then head out. And so we have about, 250 more miles?
I think just about 200, maybe 210.
Yeah, to our next destination. And to give you a little hint, we will be crossing through Las Vegas. So we're really excited that this is kind of the last leg of the trip. It's a Monday, so I'm supposed to start tomorrow, so hopefully nothing bad happens. But everything so far has been going good on the trip. Well, we're going to fill up at this Flying J because we are Good Sam members and you get some money off your fuel prices here. So we'll fill up Big Betty one more time and then be heading off to our next location. And so hopefully we won't take too long and we can get there and kind of get set up. Okay guys, we are officially at our new location for season 2.
We are.
And this wasn't even the first place we went to.
No.
This is our second RV park here in season 2. We didn't do much filming on it, but we'll talk a little bit later about that. We did want to take this time, our last video here of season 1, to just reflect on season 1 and our time spent in Montana.
We loved Montana. We think it was the best place we could have possibly been placed.
Yeah, for our first travel therapy contract.
During COVID,
we were there.
It was amazing.
We were there for a total of 6 months. Our original contract was 13 weeks, which is about 3 months, and so we re-upped halfway through that, and I'm so glad we did.
So first we want to review a couple of our favorite must-see places from Montana. You guys saw it all. These are definitely ones we would return to again and again, and we would recommend people to see. So I think the first one on that list is probably Glacier.
Yes,
right?
so we've been to a few different national parks in our time, and Glacier National Park blew our minds. And so it truly, when you talk to the locals, the way they describe it is that the other national parks are awesome, like Yellowstone and the Badlands, but Glacier, when you get there and you drive that Going to the Sun road, it's just amazing. You just are struck by the beauty and how high up in the mountains you are. Yeah. And it was a really great time.
And that that waterfall trail that we took a couple weeks ago was just perfect.
Yeah. I think it's called Three Falls Trail, and the very last waterfall is the Virginia Falls. And it was hilarious because we were hiking and we'd see an amazing waterfall, and then the people who we were with were like, nope, there's more. We were like, what? And the waterfall's supposed to be better. The next one's better. The next one's better. And that happened like 5 times.
Time just flies because you're really enjoying it and trying to take it all in. That was fun. Another
place in Glacier that we really enjoyed was the Hidden Lake Trail. That one's a pretty popular one. You stop at Logan Pass, you park there, and then you take that trail up to this hidden lake, and we did the overview, and again, that was just spectacular, just that lake back in there. What's really amazing is that Glacier National Park is a lot bigger than what you get to see from Going to the Sun Road, but the little bit you do see is spectacular.
Right, and that Highline Trail that we took with your family.
Yes, that was on the cliff edge.
Ooh, that'll give you some chills if you're looking for a little thrill. So there's so much to do. We didn't see hardly any of it. There's a whole side of the park we didn't even get to drive through because of closures. So we'll definitely be going back at some point.
Yeah, and I think we can say that Glacier National Park is our favorite national park out of all the ones we've been to. And I think it'll be really tough to beat.
The thing that is crazy about Montana is that there's so many beautiful things that are within like minutes or an hour or 2 away. And we did not run out of places to go see that were close to home. Places like Kootenai Falls and the National Bison Range and so many more. The
Cedar Grove.
The Cedar Grove. Those were super close to home, and they were just like amazing. You were never disappointed in Montana. And we would definitely go back to those things, and they're not even like the big
Right, they're not the
things
big
that
national
bring people
parks.
into
and that
Montana.
thing.
Yeah.
Some must-see places in Montana would be like Kootenai Falls, which was just this beautiful, gorgeous river, and it cascades, and there's all these little waterfalls, and you can play in the water. And then also there is the suspension bridge. The National Bison Range was really great. At first, when we got there and COVID was happening, it was shut down, so we didn't get to go until later into season 1. But the wildlife there was great. We got to see so much. We saw bison, we saw bears, we saw elk, a huge bull elk right up at the front of the visitor center. Some other must-see places was actually a little bit outside of Montana, and so we got to go to a cool town called Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, which is on this beautiful Coeur d'Alene lake, and the town was just great. We went there for our anniversary. Definitely a place we would go back and like spend a week at.
Yeah.
And then also we got to take a trip recently to Yellowstone National Park and go down to the Grand Tetons in Wyoming. And again, just an amazing, different national park there, you know, with the geothermal activity, and then the Grand Tetons, just these mountains that just seem like they erupt so high out of the ground. It was a really great time.
Another special thing about Montana is that it was our first location as travel physical therapists. As a practicing physical therapist, graduated from school.
Yeah, I know we were pretty nervous as new grads, and we wanted to land in a good place that we'd feel comfortable working at, feel comfortable living at. Mm-hmm. Our recruiters at Quantum totally knocked it out of the park with this placement. It was a great first placement for two new grad physical therapists.
Yeah, it couldn't have been more perfect. We really are always going to hold Plains, Montana, and all of the people there in our hearts. The clinic that we ended up at was servicing a small little town, and the people that we were working with were super knowledgeable, very kind, very helpful. We felt so comfortable there, and I'm pretty sure we would have stayed there if we didn't want to do travel and we didn't want to go back home someday, because it was that amazing.
Yeah.
So
it was a really great place to work. They had physical therapists there with a lot of experience that we could ask questions and learn from. We kind of got to see everything since it was a rural community. It was just a really good place to land for our first contract.
We were also very sheltered from COVID because of the small community, and so cases really didn't come into our whole entire county, which was almost 200 miles, would you say? Maybe 150?
Yeah, it was a pretty big county spread across the mountains.
Yeah, so we didn't have a case until late summer. It was like a little protection bubble, and it was nice.
Now we're going to talk about some of the challenges we faced while in Montana as we kind of embarked into our first little bit of full-time RV living. So I think our first challenging moment that we kind of came across was the very first weekend we were there in Montana, and all of a sudden I started seeing all this water behind our toilet. Clean water, clear water, but there was a lot of it. Where the clean water inlet line comes into the toilet to put water in your toilet and flush it, it was really old, and there was some leakage coming out of it. Here we had all this water in our bathroom, and then when I looked at our dinette and I opened it up where we keep all of our school books, there was water sitting in there, and so some of our school books got all wet, and we had to dry those out. And
you took like 5 trips to all of the local hardware stores that there were, which we were in the smallest town we've ever lived in. So we were like, are they even going to have what we need? Where's the Home Depot?
The nearest Home Depot was like an hour and a half away. And so all I had was the local little hardware store, which thankfully they were really great and had everything I need. But there was like multiple trips back and forth to that to get the pipe fittings I needed to fix our toilet. When that happened, it was kind of like, oh no, what are we doing? You know, we had all those breakdowns on the way out, and then now the toilet's not working. It was kind of stressful, but those moments are going to happen when you live in an RV full time, and you kind of got to expect them and be okay with them, which is definitely hard for me because I want everything to be perfect.
They're going to happen if you live in a house full time. It can just feel a little bit more hectic when you're on the road and you're moving from place to place. So Yeah, you have to expect it and know that everybody experiences it and it's okay. There's a way to fix it, and that's what we've learned along the way for sure. So the other thing that happened that same weekend that we got into town was a Montana snowstorm came through, and we were trying to avoid going north because we didn't want to catch any tail end of winter. But we caught a snowstorm, and so we had to rush to figure out how are we going to make sure we don't have busted pipes and a cold house on our hands.
Because we didn't want any frozen pipes, we didn't want any frozen tanks, no poopsicles here.
No. So that was a learning experience too, to figure out how are we going to winter-proof this. Pretty much for the short term, we knew we were going to be going into summer and wouldn't need it very long. But it definitely gave us some confidence for winter camping longer term. Since then, with our winter camping video that's been out, there have been a lot of comments on that video sharing other ways to weatherproof and winter seal your RV to keep you warm. So we've really appreciated those, and if we ever end up in a cold place for the winter, we're going to be taking those pieces of advice. When it comes to our best memories for season 1, there's a ton of them, but a few things come to mind. I think it's Ryan's family getting to come in town and visit us, see the Montana world that we were living in for 6 months. That's a really cool thing that we're enjoying about travel. Even though we really miss being with our family all of the time, when they do get to come and experience a new place that we're living in, and it's kind of like a fun adventure or a vacation for them, and we get time with them, that's a really cool part of travel. It's something for everybody to look forward to. So we really enjoyed that.
We got to go up to Glacier National Park and a few local areas around Plains, and they were amazed with the Montana scenery. We were amazed by watching them be amazed by the Montana scenery, and it was just a really great time to spend and make a memory with all of my family. It's something that we will cherish forever, and they will cherish also because they hit a couple national parks on the way out, because they drove from Missouri all the way out to Montana. And they hit a few national parks on the way out and a few different stops on the way back. And it just looked like they had like the best road trip I've ever seen.
Yes.
Another memory that we really enjoyed, which might seem kind of lame, was that it stayed daylight during the summer in Montana a whole lot longer than we're used to.
Yes.
And so there would be moments when it was like super bright out. You could go outside and play baseball practically, and it was like 10, 11 o'clock.
Yes, so there was one specific night we really noticed that the sun wasn't setting. It was about 9:30 and the sun was still up in the sky. It wasn't even dusk. And we were like, what is going on? Like, it's supposed to set every day, right? That was something that we came to like think was awesome, because we were there in the middle of the summer, and for a large majority the sun didn't set until like 10:30.
Yeah, way late. It gave us a lot of time to explore and have light to do that, which we loved.
Some of our other favorite memories just involve the scenery that's there. Just being in Plains where we lived full time, you could look in any direction and see a huge mountain range that comes down into these valleys, and the water following along the valley floor, and it just was the most beautiful scenery I've ever seen, and I was seeing it every day as a normal part of my day. And
it was super serene. The road that you drive on to get to Plains, you follow right along the Clark Fork River, and it actually goes right by Plains. And then when we were first there also, there were snow-capped mountains, and that stayed there for a while because they were so high elevation. It was just beautiful. I mean, out the front of our RV, our big Class A window, we had these beautiful two mountain views, Mount Baldy, and then working in home health, every day I got to drive along the river to these little mountain towns and just experience the scenery and the wildlife. And so it was like you were living in just a little slice of heaven.
another thing that we didn't expect to experience was a change in pace of life. We were both living in a suburban area right outside of a city, and that's what I've known my whole life. And I'm used to driving half an hour to get to most places, or dealing with a lot of traffic in the morning.
A lot of hustle and bustle.
Hustle and bustle. Even during my clinicals, I would leave the house around 6:30 and I wouldn't get home until about 7 some nights. And that's just the normal thing. And so when we came to this small town, and the hospital was literally 2 minutes away from our front door, and then I could be off of work, go grocery shopping, and be home by 5 o'clock, that blew my mind. The whole pace of life was just so different, and I really appreciated getting that experience, because I would have never experienced that pace of life if we didn't move to Plains for 6 months, and it was really enjoyable. Lastly, and probably most importantly, are the relationships that we built in Plains, Montana. Those friendships meant so much to us. It just meant a lot to us to have friendships when we were so far from home and doing so many new things in our lives that we hadn't done before. We truly enjoyed spending time with all of our coworkers and neighbors, and going on adventures with them, and eating meals with them, learning about their lives and sharing life together. That was by far the best part. So that is something that is really hard about traveling, because you have to leave that. But I also have to remember I would have never gotten to make those friendships if I never traveled. And it's definitely a hard balance, but I think it's worth it, because you meet some pretty awesome people along the way.
And we met a lot of different people who will be friends from now on. And we'll totally look forward to coming back and hanging out with them again if we're in the area.
Well, I think that was a good little overview of Montana. We wanted to close out season 1 with a little reflection on everything that we loved, and just really pay respects to how amazing it was, how God provided for us in so many ways. And we are excited to kick off season 2. We can't believe it's happening.
Yes.
And you can probably make some guesses as to where we are, but you're gonna have to find out next week on our Sunday video.
So tune in. Make sure, if you haven't already subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and don't miss another video from us, especially next week when we find out where we're at for season 2.
It's a Sunday and I feel alright.
Season
for
2.
the first time. Not a person, a place, it's a feeling that's all mine. For so many years, I wish to be here. I wasn't aware that I was so